Yun ang una kong tanong ko. Should you have been tougher on the former president? Should you have interrupted him? What do you think, Senator?
Siguro yung number one is probably tama si Senate President Chis Escudero that I got desensitized about the cursing. And by his, I saw an interview na he counted the curse words around, sabi niya 21. And I only intended to allow one. So nalusutan po ako ng 20. So yun po, isa yun. Pero yung rambling, kunyari the witness is rambling, I'll give some allowance. I give some allowance because, you know, we want to get as much information from this person as possible. So let him testify freely according to his style and not unnecessarily interrupt him. So, yun siguro. Pero nang tapos, pansin natin, that's not only the rambling but also the repetition. So, pinayagan ko na rin yun because nag-extend din naman kasi ako ng mga around 2 hours. So, binigay ko na po sa kanya yung 2 hours na yun.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Do you believe the president was rambling? Or frankly speaking, by letting him speak, he put himself in trouble? As the person who will write the draft of the committee report, so I want to ask for understanding that I cannot yet right now reveal all of my thoughts, all of my reactions, kasi isusulat ko po yan. Basta what has happened is that the testimony was under oath. Therefore, those of us who will now go over the testimony because we have the obligation to write a report and recommend something, we will treat all of his statements as serious statements. Unless he qualified the sentence as the following sentence is a joke, then we will really treat it like a joke. But if it's not qualified as a joke, that is an under oath statement. So dadaanan po namin yun. And even if let us say the sentence is about this subject matter and then the second sentence negates or contradicts the first sentence, we will have to take it into context. Babasahin po namin yan. Ano ba yung konteksto? So, and then the former president cannot control our decision-making process. Kung ano ang paniniwalaan namin sa lahat ng sinabi niya, nasa sa amin na po yun. Hindi niya kami madidiktahan ano dyan ang dapat namin paniwalaan. Bao, do you believe that by letting the president speak, he revealed more?
He revealed a lot because that number one, that is his way of speaking. If you interrupt him, then he will now restart. He will start again from the original thought, and we just keep on repeating what has been stated before you interrupted him. So you let him speak, you get more information, you get more details, you get more kwento. So I'm using words lang, Karen, objectively, because I will, as the subcommittee chairman, I believe it is my responsibility to come up with the first draft of the subcommittee report. Then, sinicirculate ngayon yan. Mag-agree yung iba, magdi-disagree yung iba.
Now, what do you make of Representative Abante? We often talk about interparliamentary courtesy. What do you make of Representative Abante criticizing you, how you conducted yourself when, let's face it, you and other colleagues don't criticize the lower house, or now they conduct their own hearings?
Ako nga, actually, I have refrained from commenting on how Quadcom conducts its hearings. Pero siguro, I will just allow that as a constituent Abante. Siguro, ganun na lang. I will just accept his criticism because he is also my constituent. Diba, national yung constituency namin. So, he is my constituent, our constituent. So, he has the right to criticize us. Pero ganito na lang kasi, yung Quadcom na yan, why don't they just subpoena the former president and require his appearance before them? Ang dami rin nila kasing cheche-boreche na invite, not invite, not invite. Subpina nyo na lang, and then pag nandyan na sa harap ninyo, then get the information that you want to get, and I hope that your proceedings will be more perfect than ours.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. You have Representative Robert Ace Barbers now saying that Duterte didn't look like he was of frail health when he attended the Senate probe. And he said that he was hoping that Duterte would show up at the next Quadcom hearing. Ang tanong ko, if the Quadcom subpoenas the former president and he refuses, given he is a former president, can you actually cite him in contempt or have him arrested? Is that allowed?
House rules, can we ask them about their house rules?
Okay.
Pero
So magkaiba yun.
Let me explain the subcommittee's rule. Kasi I am not an ordinary committee, I'm just a subcommittee. Actually, the subcommittee has been deprived of the power to cite in contempt. Because that's the section 20 of our rule. So siguro doon lang yung mga tao na nakita nila na
naguguluhan.
Committee hearing ito sa Quadcom, ang bilis ng trigger happy sila ron sa pagdating sa contempt eh. Puno na yata ngayon detention center nila. Puno na. May overflow na sa Women's Correctional, sa Bilibid ba or sa Quezon City Jail. So meron silang power to cite in contempt, and they've been freely been citing, generously been citing people in contempt. The regular committees ng Senate, meron din power to cite in contempt, but a subcommittee, wala.
Okay. So do you think this is one of the reasons why you have critics saying Duterte called the shots? He took control of the Senate subcommittee. Do you think that was true? And do you think it's because it was a subcommittee?
No, hindi naman. Even if I had the power to cite in contempt, the question is would I have exercised the power? I don't think that we have crossed any line to have cited the former president in contempt, di ba? I mean, at saka you do not do that unnecessarily kasi that's why it's a hearing before a legislative body. You know that there is some politics involved. Sometimes the person would want to be cited in contempt, hindi ba? So, ingat din tayo. We don't give in to the plan or to the desire of that person. So but at any rate, that subcommittee has no power to cite in contempt. The point is, okay, the plan was to end at 4 o'clock. We ended at around 7 o'clock. So we had three extra hours. Garma was not there. Leonardo was not there. Espinosa was not there. So we give it to this witness who rarely makes public appearances or official appearances before bodies. Let's give it to him. Okay, salita. Okay, pero ang ano doon is, ang iba kasi na paulit-ulit, siguro mga 3 to 4 times na sabi. Pero okay, let us, because that is also valuable for us investigators to see kung consistent ba yung, even if you repeat something, are you consistently repeating something? So, we will now be convinced that, okay, this is really his stand on this particular issue because he stated it 3 times and the statement is really perfectly the same. So that may value din po lahat yun. But we could have ended it actually 2 hours earlier. Pero since my next commitment got also moved, so that means I had time. So I allowed it. Nandun na siya, sayang.
Okay. But did you feel any pressure? Because at one point in time, you were actually a supporter of former President Duterte. You were a believer. Before the whole PDP Laban issue, you were one of those who supported Duterte early, right?
Yes.
Did you feel that kind of a pressure?
Well, I'm no longer his supporter now. We have a pending case before the Supreme Court. So we have our political differences. We do not communicate. So parang may ano ba yung kasabay, hindi na kami close. Karen. So He has absolutely zero influence over me, especially on the way I think. So when I write the committee report, our past relationship, our past friendship, our past dealings will have zero influence over me. And but also ito lang dadagdag ko, even our present disputes will also not affect my way of thinking. I will just look at the evidence. I will follow the evidence. Hindi ko sasabihin na guilty itong taong ito dahil nag-away kami sa control of a political party. Ang layo na nun eh. And I'm not that kind of a person. I want to be fair. But what is there? I need to look at what is there. What is the evidence?
Okay. And I wanted to add also, I mean, I think, let's say, not as a journalist, but as an ordinary viewer, it's actually a minus when you have legislators grandstanding, right? So when you watch a hearing, for example, you want to hear, gusto mo pakinggan yung kwento ng isang witness. What you have some legislators, whether in the lower house or in the Senate, they want to take that opportunity to grandstand, di ba? Senator, seeing it. Hindi mo na marinig. But what happened is actually with Duterte being allowed to speak, if you ask any ordinary viewer, more was revealed. So if I were to ask you, what kind of information do you believe was highlighted and important that Duterte admitted in the Senate?
Well,
number one, he admitted there was a Davao death squad.
That there was a Davao death squad. Of course, that there were deaths actually perpetrated by the Davao death squad. As to who composed, meron siya ibang versions doon. Yun. Kailangan imbestigahan yun. But not by calling him again. He cannot be the source of all information. That's why we really need to do some investigating ourselves. And then number two, siguro I got worried about that he got to teach early in the police officers' professional lives. He got to teach them that early.
Encourage them.
Huh?
Encourage them.
So yan yun. That is now the professor of a fresh police officer. So ang tanong ko, who are screening those who get access as professors to the fresh police officers? They have to be screened. And if they teach that way, that you highlight first what is questionable, sabi na natin what is illegal, for 1 hour you highlight what is illegal, what should not be done, that you do what should not be done, and then the last 10 minutes of the lecture you say that this will all be mean. I mean that's somebody should be screening also the professors teaching our police officers.
Okay.
Delikado yun eh. So among others yan, Karen, ang dami pang problema. You see.
And what do you think? I wanted to ask you what you thought when Duterte said, yung mga yan, yung nakaupo dyan, yung commander na yan, mga commander yan ng Davao Death Squad. Yan si Bato, Davao Death Squad yan. Right?
In fairness to them, ang natural reaction ko tinignan ko sila kung sino magre-react They were so timid They walang tagtaas ng kamay. So ang ginawa ko, initiative ko, tinanong ko sila, do you want to react? Kasi, I mean, you are really put in a bad light. I mean, you should react. But since they did not want to react, I required them to react. Yung iba, okay lang, parang binabrush aside lang nila. But look, si Catalino Cuy, when I gave him the chance, sabi niya, I'm glad I'm given this chance because it's not, I do not confirm that that because I think once upon a time that was also linked to him and it affected his career. Yun ang point. I think that was the gist of his input.
And then I interviewed Senator Bato de la Rosa on Head Start last week, and he categorically just denied. He said, hindi ako naging miyembro ng Davao Death Squad, pero hayaan na lang daw magsalita si Duterte. Ganun daw yun, nagbibiro lang.
Okay, at least may nagsabi ng gano'n. Pero if we look at just the words of the witness or the resource persons, hindi niya sinabi yun. So nasa sa amin na yun. Those who will now go over the records come up with conclusions and write the draft subcommittee report, nasa sa amin yun. Will we believe, how much weight or belief will we put this on this statement? Will we treat this as a joke? Na hindi naman niya sinabing joke, ibang tao ang nagsabi ng joke, hindi siya. Oh, so who, 'di ba? What is the qualification of a third party saying that the person speaking is joking?
Yeah. So now I want to ask you about Police Officer Grijalde. Officer Grijaldo, who had an assigned affidavit, read it in the Senate, and said essentially that Representative Abante and Representative Dan Fernandez spoke with him privately and said, ipinakita, ayan, ito yung testimony ni Garma, yan ang sasabihin mo, yan ang sasabihin mo. And Abante saying, oh, ilang taon ka pa ba sa PNP? Baka mag-general ka. So in effect, he said in the Senate, wala siyang alam sa reward system, pero kumbaga na pressure siya doon sa Quad Committee, kaya sinabi niya, yes, may reward system. What do you make of that testimony?
No. Si Grijaldo, I think, did not confirm the reward system. He did not confirm. Tinanong ko siya eh. So you actually testified after that incident, yung kinikwento mo, yung na pinuturo sa iyo yung affidavit ni Garma. Okay, sabi ko, nag-testify ka sa Quadcom. Sabi niya, yes. Nagsinungaling ka ba? May sinabi ka ba doon na hindi totoo na resulta ng pag-pressure sa iyo? Sinabi naman niya. So, but then, this is my point, no? Okay, ganito lang kasi dapat tayo mag-isip. We were not there eh. Tayo, Karen, ako, we were not there. So, what are the two possibilities? Pwedeng totoong nangyari, pwedeng hindi totoong nangyari.
Pero ang totoo, talagang kinausap nila privately. Representative Abante
Inamin yun? Inamin nila
inamin niya.
Okay, pero siyempre may in-between yun kung ano naman yung pinag-usapan. Baka naman hindi pinipilit. Doon muna tayo sa version ng witness na parang pinipilit siya. Okay. Kasi kung totoo yun, saan tatakbo yung taong subjected to that kind of pressure? Saan siya tatakbo? So pasalamat may Senado na pwede niyan takbuhan so that he can now air what really happened. Ngayon, ang next scenario, paano kung hindi totoo? Therefore, panagutin siya ngayon ng House. The House should now call him again. Kasi I even asked Grijaldo. Sabi ko, Colonel, you took your oath, no? Sabi niya, yes. Binasa ko tapos yung because I got the information that Congressman Abante denounced what he said as lies. Sabi ko, itong reaction po ni Congressman Abante that hindi totoo yung sinasabi mo ngayon sa aming harap. Pinaninindigan mo ba yan? Kaya mong panindigan yan? Sinabi ni Colonel Grijaldo sa akin, yes. So, that's it. So, I'm talking to an active police officer, ganyang kataas ang rank ko, and who would be man enough to also defend what he stated under oath in the Senate, even if he is questioned before the House.
Now, my question is, these hearings, they're in aid of legislation. That's the intention, right? It's supposed to help legislators make better laws. It's not meant for anybody to prosecute anybody. Both houses don't have that power. And yet, look at this witness, si Grijaldo. Now you have Dan Fernandez, and I believe, I don't know if Representative Abante is with this, but they will file cases against Grijaldo. So eto ka, at the end of the day, this is the Philippines. Ang congressman mas makapangyarihan, mas maraming pera. Kakasuhan ang police officer. Isipin mo yun, tumistigo ka na sa mababang kapulungan o sa Senado. Kung ayaw nila ang sinabi mo, kakasuhan ka pa. Problema pang inabot sa iyo, you'll have to hire a lawyer. Instead na nagtatrabaho ka, gagastos ka. And we know the influence of powerful people in this country with the courts. So that's my question. Ano ang hangganan ng kapangyarihan, Senator, ng mga legislator sa mga testigo?
Mabuti na rin ngayon because mabuti na rin sa third venue na nila i-litigate whether Grijaldo was telling the truth or not, it's before a judge. Gano'n na lang. Kaysa sa, actually, ang one possible scenario or remedy for them, which I predict you will not like and many other people will not like, is for them to call again Grijaldo to appear before them. And then right there, doon nila lagay ko lang sa quotation marks, i-crucify yung tao.
Oo. And do you believe that would be abusive?
Yeah, which would be more unfair, di ba? Because you now brought him to a house hostile to him. But if you now sue him before the courts, I think mas neutral yun. Pero tama na rin yun. So ako rin kasi, kunyari ganito, kunyari there is a lie thrown against me.
Oh.
Ano naman din ang reaction ko? Masyado naman ako magulang if I will use now a Senate committee to find a way to call that person before us. So, I think a fairer, gawin ko na lang quotation marks ulit, a fairer way to react under the circumstances is to, you believe that your rights have been violated, yung reputation mo has been tarnished, file a case in court. At least lumabas, you go outside of your own house.
Okay. So now, let's talk about Garma and Leonardo. Sa sunod na pagdinig, have you subpoenaed them? I believe Leonardo is detained, right? In the lower house?
As far as I know, yung dalawa, under house control.
Oo, house control. Paano yun? Does that mean that the subcommittee has to request the quad committee to I wouldn't say lend is the right word, but
to allow
them. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I will have to coordinate with the house before I even set the date next hearing. Ganun muna. Kasi may a little complication, may sinasabi sila na meron din daw detained doon eh. Espinosa I think is detained. Someone is detained. Someone is detained somewhere by some jail or prison. So we also have to involve the original detention center. So yun lang po yun. Just a minor thing, a little an extra step in the coordination process. Okay, but ganito. So I want to, at the second hearing, kailangan ko si Garma at saka si Leonardo. But just in case worst case scenario, pinahirapan kami dyan o mahihirapan kami dyan, I can still hold the second hearing, but this time focus on the policy.
But wait, I want to ask you, if pinahirapan kayo, can Senate President Cheese Escudero speak with the Speaker?
Yes, coordination.
That can happen. Yes.
Coordination tayo, but let us say, kasi yung actually Karen, yung first hearing, akala ko mag-a-attend eh. Nagbigay ng mga medical excuses. So, nagbigay sila. And siyempre, ako naman, I'm a very reasonable person. Sinabi na may COVID yung isa, kaya house doctor pa yung nag-certify, okay. So yung isa naman sa previously scheduled medical examination or procedure, at this point in time, at my age, nagpapa-schedule na rin naman ako ng mga medical exam. And I know it takes weeks beforehand.
But a clarification is the House Squad Committee they do not own those witnesses. So ang tanong ko nga sa inyo, for example, you have Garma and Leonardo that are, what were the words that you used? They're under the House Squad Committee's
custody.
Custody. Why? That's my question. Why?
Cited for contempt. They cited them for contempt.
But that's also the question, right? There are no cases filed against them, technically speaking.
As far as I know, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, but what power? That's also my question as a journalist, an ordinary citizen. When does this violate already the rights of an individual? Umami na nga yung Garma. She already said that my reward system, Leonardo agreed. On what basis can you keep them?
Let the House Quadcom justify their continued detention. I will not justify it for them. let them justify it. Sila sumagot. Kasi tama yun eh. They were requiring these two people to do something, which is to answer correctly. Yun ang point yata nila because in their belief, they were not answering honestly, di ba? Under oath. So, kinontempt nila. Now that you can now purge yourself of the contempt by complying with what they are asking for. And they're asking for a truthful response to the question. Kung truthfully nang sumagot, dapat nga purge na sila of the contempt. So no more legal basis to hold them. But that's an outsider's opinion. The question should be directed to the Quadcom chairpersons.
Pero so technically speaking, there is no reason for Garma and Leonardo not to attend the Senate subcommittee hearing if you subpoena them to attend.
Yes. Yes.
Technically, if the subcommittee issues out a subpoena, the House Quad Committee cannot not allow them, right?
Yes, theoretically,
cannot not allow them. They don't have that power.
Theoretically, they should not. But then, if should they be now allowed to attend our hearings, but still be under contempt citation by the House, out of respect, the Senate, obligation of the Senate is to return the physical custody of the two persons to the House, back to the House, because we will have to recognize and honor their contempt citation over these two persons.
Okay.
So ibalik namin sila properly where they came from.
Okay. Now the reason I'm asking this is already hypothetical. Testimonya nun sa Senado. Baka biglang sabihin ni Garma at Leonardo.
That's the point.
That's it, right?
That's the point. That's the point. Under changed circumstances, will you stick to your story? If they stick to their story, then ang laking ang laking boost yun sa credibility nila.
Ng House Quad Committee ng rin. It will be
yes, the witness, the testimony to be used by the Quadcom has withstood questioning or even cross-examination in the Senate. Therefore, that's a very credible testimony kung mangyari yun.
All right. But I mean, relatively speaking, okay, it's the first time a former president attended as a Senate subcommittee or committee hearing. That's one. But technically, can the House decline the attendance of? Can the House
decline to allow?
Has that ever been done?
I don't know if it has ever been done, but what would be the brilliant justification for that? No. They do not own these resource persons or witnesses. They do not actually control them. They just have custody of them. So I don't think that will happen because that would be a big political issue, Karen. Because the journalist should ask them to justify. But I don't think it will happen. My prediction is. Kasi last time Karen, actually they were ready daw. They were ready daw. Except that may mga medical reasons bigla eh. So may COVID. So who are we to dispute the COVID findings? So
okay. My last question is, you already have the ICC, the representative in the Philippines, saying that they can use former President Duterte's testimony in the Senate subcommittee hearing for their own investigation. Now, will the Senate submit, if the ICC asks for your subcommittee report, will the Senate submit it to the ICC?
For the subcommittee report, that means they are patient people because the subcommittee report will still need 2 more hearings, so that means months will have to pass before we can even draft a subcommittee report, and that is subjected to internal debates with dissenting opinions and then submitted to the mother committee. So if they are patient people and they can wait for the subcommittee report as approved by the mother committee, then this will be available to all kasi public document yan eh. But what I want to announce now is that all the transcripts will be available, we will make them available to all. Kasi if you wait for the reports subcommittee yan, naakyat pa sa mother committee yan. Pwede pang pag-awayan yan, kada sentence dyan, kada paragraph, pagdedebatehan pa yan. Tapos papasa pa sa plenary yan, another debate. So for those, let us say, in a hurry, who are excited or eager to use whatever has been uncovered during the first subcommittee hearing, we will make the transcripts and all the non-confidential documentary submissions to the subcommittee available to the general public. If they want certified true copies because they need this for some legal purpose, we will also give them certified true copies.
Okay. Now, I'll go back now to Senator Bongo and Senator Bato de la Rosa. You had Senator Bongo actually confront one of the resource persons in that subcommittee hearing, right? In other words, can you remind me, Senator, who was that particular?
Espinido.
Espinido, yeah. Na sabi ni Senator Bongo, you lied. Wala kang alam, but you lied. Because in effect, Espinido had said that Bongo, being very close to the president, knew about everything, right? By sheer proximity to power, so to speak. He didn't say that Bongo was the head of the drug war, but he said he knew, right? Because of proximity, closeness to the presidents. And you have Bongo saying, ikaw, you lied. Wala kang alam, you lied. So now you have congressmen saying, dapat pina-inhibit ninyo si Bongo at Bato because they are implicated. They are accused. By allowing them, you allowed Bato and Bongo to use their power as senators to harass some of the witnesses. I mean, they have a point there.
They have a point if it is a court and the judge has, if the judge has personal knowledge about the incident, you ask for his inhibition. Or, di ba? If the judge is a close relative or if the judge himself is the accused, you ask for his inhibition. Pero tanda mo, you ask for the judge's inhibition because the decision to inhibit oneself from proceedings comes from that person. Okay?
You can't order.
You cannot exclusion yun. Okay, kaya muna, okay. Inhibition. Pag nag-inhibit sila at yun ang gusto ninyo, din palakpakan ninyo sila. Pag yung mga nananawagan ng inhibition nila, hindi sila nag-inhibit, then you say, delikadesa, ganon. So, it's a political thing. Ngayon na kami, can we exclude them? Bawal kayo rito. Hindi. Unfair. We are just equal. We have equal prerogatives. We have equal treatment, rights and privileges and duties equal.
Yeah. And I think it's good you mentioned the judge. Kung judge na nga in a court of law, hindi mo pa mapilit to inhibit. Right. It is voluntary. Ano pa na ito in aid of legislation, hindi naman ito prosecutorial, right?
All right. And then ito lang in fairness to Bongo yung topic na yun medyo complicated because we could not find the documentary trail, no? So kung ano yung pinag-uusapan nilang dalawa, but the one affidavit I saw, may paragraph 40 doon na affidavit of Espinido, paragraph 40, all of a sudden the name of Bongo appears all of a sudden. And it's really out of context. Bigla na lang basta kaya tanong ni Bong sa kanya, bakit bigla akong nasingit dyan sa affidavit mo? So that's as far as I could understand what they were talking about. Kaya pinapa-research ko pa nga, I'm asking my staff to dig deeper into that issue. Were they referring to one and the same affidavit or are there really two affidavits and we only have copy of one? But the copy that I saw, talaga namang from out of nowhere, bigla na lang nabanggit ang pangalan ni Senator Bongo. So I mean, fairness, ako chairman, I mean, kahit may away din kami ni Bongo sa party, sa political party power grab nila. But as a fair person, when I see that document, when I read that, kaya tinignan ko sabi ko nga naman, bakit naman biglang may pangalan na doon na the funding comes from unknown sources, but may then all of a sudden Bongo, the name Bongo is there. So
Oo.
so tama yun. I mean, if it were my case, my
Yeah.
name, if my name is there, I should be given the chance to confront that person. Fair is fair. Fair is fair lang po mga kababayan. Okay, kahit galit tayo ron sa taong yun, pero let's say galit kayo sa kanya, pero fair is fair. Kasi hindi, but ako naman, I want to understand those who are reacting negatively doon sa questioning niya because they do not know the actual state of facts. Kami nga mismo nalito eh. Ako mismo nalito eh. So I exerted a little effort to look at the documents.